Hello? Tony Luke. I want a Tony Luke.
Hey,
Anyone?
Adam, what's up, man?
Oh, hey Stein, what are you doing here?
I'm here to shoot the show. Timeout.
What do you mean? It's over in the studio.
No, we're doing it here today. We're doing it in the Liacouras Center.
Oh, that's so convenient.
Wait, what are you doing here?
I usually just hang out here, hoping somebody's gonna give me the leftovers.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But, so while we're here, we can talk about the big men's game on Sunday against Villanova.
Yeah, we can talk about women's lacrosse too. They've been playing great. What about women's basketball?
Basketball as
Yeah,
well.
and
Also,
then,
what's today?
Today's something special.
Valentine's Day, right?
See, I don't know because I never experienced it.
Let's do Anchor's Arrows, where we highlight certain people from Temple Athletics past and present
Yeah.
that we love.
Just start shooting arrows at everybody.
That sounds good. Yeah.
I like that idea a lot. But first, let's take a time out. Hey, we got next, but not in basketball. Hello and welcome to the special edition of Temple Timeout. I am Adam Miller alongside my partner Brian Steinmetz. And Brian, we're not in Kansas anymore, man.
No, we certainly are not. Happy Valentine's Day to all you beautiful viewers out there. We are coming at you from the Liacouras Center, home of Temple men's basketball, where the team will be taking on the 15th ranked Villanova Wildcats this Sunday, and we'll get into a lot of that later on in the show. But first, we need to talk about the women's lax team, who started out hot with a 17-8 victory over George Washington. They took on Rutgers. Let's see if they can make it 2-0.
Temple taking on Rutgers at Howarth Field. And early on, Brian, this didn't look great for the Owls. I mean, they go down big early on and trouble starts to happen early.
Yeah, they got down 4-0 early in this one. And it was the second half where Temple made a comeback. They actually ended up taking a 9-6 lead in this one, Adam.
Yeah, and you know, this was more upsetting than when in Valentine's Day, you have one of your Valentine's Day boxes and you don't get any Valentines.
No chocolates,
nothing. And the Owls end up losing this one to the score of 13-11.
Getting back to men's basketball now, which I mentioned in the beginning of the show. Don't look now, but they were on a tear at the beginning of February, back-to-back wins to start the month. After a comeback win against SMU last weekend, Temple caught another come-from-behind victory against Tulane Wednesday night, thanks to some late-game heroics from Quentin Rose, who scored 6 points in the last 2 minutes of the game and had the game-clinching steal. The Owls now sit at 13-11 on the season.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, partner. I mean, I love the way that Temple's playing recently, especially Quentin Rose, but they have to look to the future. I mean, their biggest test is in front of them, and it's coming down North Broad Street very, very shortly in the form of the Villanova Wildcats.
You're not wrong about that. As we alluded to earlier in the show, the Owls will be taking on their crosstown rival, Villanova Wildcats, this Sunday. Villanova is currently ranked 15th in the country, sitting at 17-6 overall, only trailing Seton Hall in their conference.
Yeah, if the Owls have any hope of slowing down Nova, they're going to need to start by dealing with forward Sadiq Bey and guard Colin Gillespie. Together they combine for just over 30 points per game, but unfortunately the talent doesn't stop there for the Wildcats, as they have 3 other players on their roster averaging double-digit point totals. Brian, it's going to be a tough one, man.
Yeah, there's no denying it, but as I've said before, these Big 5 games are always a toss-up. We saw Temple blow out St. Joe's and then lose to Penn, who lost to St. Joe's. So it's really about who wants it more.
Yeah.
Any predictions for the game?
I think it's going to be close, but I don't know how close. I'm thinking maybe a come-from-behind victory again for Nova. I mean, not Nova, for Temple. Yeah, I think it's going to be a 5-point game. Yeah.
So I'm going to take Villanova in this one for the sheer fact that they have a lot more experience in these situations. It'll be a close game throughout, but I'm going to take Villanova.
Listen, despite the 2 wins recently, the Owls, they struggled for the most part of this season, mostly because of their struggles on offense. But we got Sam Cohn here with us, and he's Owl Scoop insider, talking to different basketball recruits. And Sam, is help on the way?
Help is on the way, and it's going to come in the form of the class of 2020 and in the class of 2021 for years to come, with the culture and the program that Aaron McKie wants to build here at Temple.
So, obviously, class of 2020, you talked about. what do we expect?
So there's two signees coming from the class of 2020. One is a 6'6" guard from Georgia in Quincy Adamakoya. He's the kind of guy, he can shoot the lights out. He's a long, athletic defender, and he thinks he can bring a lot to this team in terms of spacing the floor and in terms of bringing that offensive production. The other guy to look forward to for the class of 2020 is a 6'7" guard, much more ball dominant from Wildwood, New Jersey. That's Jaleel White, and he's a guy that's got some size to him. He's a 6'7" guard, and that's what Aaron McKie is looking for. That's the body type he wants moving forward with this Temple program and kind of what he's looking for. So those two guys are going to bring a lot of production. I'd see Quincy Adamakoya getting more involved freshman year. He was told that if he works his butt off coming in when he gets on campus, that he might find some minutes in his freshman year.
Nice. Any questions for him, Brian?
Yeah, now, do you think, you mentioned that these players can contribute their freshman year. You think they'll be able to right off the bat?
I think there's a chance Quincy Adamakoya finds himself into a good rotation spot in his freshman year. Jaleel White, it's going to be a tough struggle to get him more into the rotation, but that's just because Quincy Adamakoya brings so much more with a really consistent jump shot. It's something Jaleel White's talked about he wants to improve, but that backcourt's going to be pretty crowded next year with Josh Pierre-Louis, Damian Dunn coming back, Monty Scott getting good minutes too. So I think Quincy Adamakoya is more set up for success in terms of his position and what he brings offensively.
So you think we won't see a lot of these offensive slumps next season?
I think that next year you can look forward to a lot more offensive production in terms of shooting the ball from the outside, creating space from the perimeter.
So you talked about the class of 2020. What about the class of 2021? You talked about that there might be some help on the way from that class as well.
So Temple might have some help in the class of 2021. They've been looking at two guys specifically. That's Stevie Mitchell from Reading, Pennsylvania. He's a guy that he's a 6'1". He plays more off the ball, but Temple's going to look for him to want to play more on the ball as a guard. He's been working on his jump shot. He's really crafty. He's got a good handle on the ball, and he likes to get his guys involved. He had a really successful official visit back in October. So Temple's really excited about the potential prospect in Stevie Mitchell, waiting on his decision still. And the other guy is JoJo Peterson, who's a guard from Georgia, a guy that's really improved his stock too in his junior year. He's got great floor vision. He really sees the floor well. He's crafty creating his own shot, but he wants to get his teammates involved in the way he can drive off the dribble and find his teammates in the corner, find his teammates for jump shots along the perimeter. He could be a really great addition too. So those are two names just to keep on your radar. The guy that Temple's looking at for the class of 2021.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sam.
Thank you guys for having me.
Now, how about the women's team? After their blowout loss against USF this past Sunday, they turned their focus to Houston on Saturday at McGonigal Hall. This game will prove to be a turning point for this team as they'll either spark a run and have a chance for the NIT tournament with their remaining games, or if they should lose, it'll be their third straight loss, seriously derailing any postseason hopes they have.
Now, Brian, I know the location lends itself to it because obviously we're in the Liacouras Center,
Yes,
but we got to talk about some football because Temple, they have a record 4 players going to the NFL Combine this year. That's pretty impressive.
That's right. Matt Hennessy, Chappelle Russell, Sean Bradley, and Harrison Hand all will be competing in the Combine, representing the Cherry and White. Who knows? Maybe this year we'll also see the most Temple players drafted too.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of really good players in this draft, and I think the obvious one for Temple to go early is Matt Hennessy.
Absolutely.
I saw some experts say he could go as early as the second round, but I'm thinking he's going to fall somewhere in between 3 and 4.
I saw that he might be either the first, second, or third center
I also
taken in the
saw that,
draft.
yeah.
So that would be pretty interesting. I know last season we saw Michael Dogby not even get an invite to the Combine, which is absolutely absurd. As I know, he's playing with the Arizona Cardinals now, so don't be surprised if you see other Temple players go the same route he did.
Yeah, don't be surprised if Sean Bradley finds his way into an NFL draft, into the NFL draft too.
Absolutely.
Very good player for Temple. And
Isaiah Wright as well, if he wants to go there.
absolutely. You know, Brian, something just doesn't feel right about the show.
What's that, brother?
You know, it's this thing. It's called love, and I can't handle it because love is in the air, Brian. It's Valentine's Day,
it is.
I think we got to start talking about some things that are making us feel all warm and fuzzy inside about Temple athletics. What do you think?
Absolutely, I agree with that. Let's give a little Anchor Arrows this Friday, Valentine's Day.
Sounds good to me.
My first arrow has to go to former Temple head coach Matt Rule. He's the man that turned this program around into what it is now. He went to Baylor University and did the same exact thing. He turned it around there as well. In fact, he came within 1 or 2 possessions of competing in the college football playoff. That's absolutely fantastic. Now he's on his way to the NFL to head coach the Carolina Panthers to turn their franchise around as well and get back to the Super Bowl for the first time since Super Bowl 50. And if history has shown us anything, is that there's a really good chance that he does that.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to be talking about a player that Matt Rule actually coached for my first Anchors Arrow, and that's Philip Walker. If you haven't heard, Vince McMahon, he restarted the XFL, and there's a really good chance that Philip Walker is the league's best player. 272 yards and 4 touchdowns in the first game, Stein. That's not too bad. And you know, he's representing the T very well, and he's making me feel so warm and fuzzy inside. Love what he's doing down there in Houston.
Absolutely. My second Anchor Arrow has to go to former Temple single-digit tough leader, Rock Ya-Sin, playing for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, he was a leader. He earned himself a spot on the 2019 Pro Football Focus All-Rookie team. He started 13 games and had 1 interception and 1 fumble recovery, and also had 53 solo tackles in his rookie season. Not too bad, Rock.
Not bad at all. And you know, we give this guy a lot of flack often with Quentin Rose. You know, we get on his case a lot, but like I always say, every rose has its thorn, and you got to appreciate roses for their beauty, Stein. You can't deal with all of their imperfections, and I love what Q's been doing recently. He's the all-time leader in AAC scoring in AAC basketball scoring history. Amazing stuff from Q. Led 2 comeback wins in a row. He's been the team's best player all season, and he's never averaged less than 10 points per game in his career, Stein. I love what Q's been doing recently and over his career.
Well, if Temple gets down on Sunday to Villanova, hopefully he can lead to a 3rd straight comeback.
Fingers crossed, Stein. I love what Rose has been doing. Brian, you know, we talked about all these Anchors Arrows and all the things that we love about them, but they have their imperfections too. But Valentine's Day is about focusing not on the imperfections, but on the beauty on the inside and the out.
Adam, those words are so beautiful.
I try.
Unfortunately for the two of us, our words don't speak to any girls because we're dateless tonight, but at least we have each other.
Yeah, as Forrest Gump once said, me and you, we go together like peas and carrots. But the problem is, we can't be together much longer on the show because we're all out of timeouts.
For all of us here at Temple Timeout, that is Adam Miller. I am Brian Steinmetz from the Liacouras Center. This has been Temple Timeout. Have a fantastic Valentine's Day weekend, and we'll see you next time.